everyone. Welcome to Live Interactive English, and I'm Karen.
Hello, everybody. I am Shane, and today we are talking about the importance of being earnest.
Wow, are you trying to look really or seem really earnest right now?
Trying to seem like sincere and serious. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even really know how to use the word earnest because it's not a word that we use to describe people.
That's
true. I don't
true.
know if like back in the day people used the word earnest a lot to describe people's personalities.
Maybe, but you're right. It just means that you're very sincere or very serious. It's like how you did the intro, right? Actually, that sounded quite earnest.
Do you think I'm an earnest person?
You mean like sincere?
Sincere?
And also very serious?
Well,
not really.
I'm not very serious, that's for and I guess I'm quite sarcastic oftentimes, so maybe not so sincere.
If I really had to use some adjectives to describe you, I would probably say humorous.
Humorous?
You're quite funny, right? Okay.
Anything else? Just humorous?
Let me think. Okay, give me a minute here.
How about honest, courteous, respectful? No? Nothing's ringing a bell?
Okay, how about maybe responsible?
Responsible?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I don't.
And
even I have to say I'm not that responsible.
And then maybe a little bit lazy sometimes.
Okay.
How about me? How would you describe me?
Funny, outgoing, beautiful.
Thank you.
Captivating. Definitely not earnest.
So we're not very serious and we're not very sincere. Well, I'm sincere.
I think I'm sincere too.
Okay, well, I guess we're going to talk about the importance of being earnest, right?
Okay, and then maybe we will learn something and we'll become more earnest.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Okay, let's get into it.
Ernest Worthing entered the beautiful London apartment of his good friend Algernon Moncrief. He had come to the city in hopes of proposing to Gwendolen, Algernon's cousin. After mentioning this desire to Algernon, Ernest was suddenly questioned about his cigarette case, which had an inscription made out to an Uncle Jack. Ernest was forced to come clean. His real name was Jack. Although he was a well-respected gentleman in the countryside, Jack had created an unruly brother called Ernest, whose identity he often assumed while in the city. He also told Algernon about his ward Cecily and her growing interest in this fake brother. Surprisingly, Algernon also admitted that he was no stranger to deception. He had made up a dying man called Banbury, whom he visited whenever he wanted to avoid his responsibilities.
All right, so let's get into part one of the importance of being earnest. This is, I think, is a kind of a difficult story, especially because the names are not so easy to pronounce.
But that's okay. I think through practice, I think we can do it and you guys can do it too.
Right, I'm gonna really earnestly try to do this.
Okay, let me start. Ernest Worthing entered the beautiful London apartment of his good friend Algernon Moncrief. He had come to the city in hopes of proposing to Gwendolen, Algernon's cousin. Okay, so right here we know that we already have a few characters, right?
Right.
So the first character is Ernest Worthing.
Right.
Okay.
We've got a friend of his, Algernon Moncrief.
That's right. And he had come to the city in hopes of proposing to Gwendolen. So when we say someone is going to propose to somebody, what does it mean?
We are proposing to marry that person.
That's right.
Right? So to propose just means to offer up like a suggestion or something that you want to happen or want to do. But normally when we say somebody proposed to somebody, that's going to mean that they're asking them to marry them.
Exactly. And that person is Algernon's cousin, right? Gwendolen.
Okay, continuing. After mentioning this desire to Algernon, Ernest was suddenly questioned about his cigarette case, which had an inscription made out to an Uncle Jack.
Inscription?
Right.
So there's a cigarette case. It's a case where you can put cigarettes in, and then it had an inscription. What is that?
That means that something is written on it.
Okay, maybe like carved.
Kind of like carved, exactly. But it's made out to Uncle Jack.
Wait, but his name is Ernest Worthing. He's not Uncle Jack.
That's a little bit suspicious.
Okay, well, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, let's look at the vocabulary first.
Okay, well, the first one is desire, and that is a noun that we're using here. Desire, that means a strong wish to have or do something. Like, I really, really want to do something. I have the desire to do this thing.
Yeah.
So in our example sentence, it says, Melissa has a strong desire to have children, which means that she really, really, really wants to have children.
I have a strong desire not to have children.
But they're so cute.
So exhausting.
No, you're going to change your mind.
Okay, we'll see. Okay, so continuing the story, Ernest was forced to come clean.
Oh, what does that mean? Come
Right?
clean?
To
Like
come
clean his hands?
Yeah, like, come
take
on
a shower?
in. Let's get clean. Wash your hands, wash your hair. No. To come clean means to be honest.
Aha,
Whatever
very
secrets you're telling, you're going to let them out and everything's become clean. Right? So, to come clean, his real name was Jack.
And not Ernest Worthing, right?
All right, so he came clean. Okay. My real name is Jack.
Okay.
Although he was a well-respected gentleman in the countryside, Jack had created an unruly brother called Ernest, whose identity he often assumed while in the city. Okay, so an unruly brother just means someone who's unruly, kind of wild, doesn't follow the rules, maybe a little bit crazy. So he would assume this identity when he went into the city. That just means he uses this identity.
He will pretend to be this person.
He pretends to be this person when he goes into the city. That kind of makes sense, I think.
Really?
Well, because he wants to get into some trouble, but they don't want people to know that's Jack.
True.
So he uses a fake name. So people will say, oh, that guy who got in the fight, well, his name was Ernest. And Jack would be like, really? Some guy named Ernest? Hey, look like me? Well, that couldn't be me. My name's Jack.
Okay, so maybe that's why he created that identity, right?
Perhaps.
Okay, well, let's move on. So he also told Algernon about his ward Cecily and her growing interest in this fake brother. So ward, what's a ward? What does that mean?
So a ward it's kind of an old-fashioned word. It just means a person, especially a child, who is under legal protection of a court, or it could be another person. So it's kind of old-fashioned. You read this word a lot in like old stories, I think, and it's more of a legal term.
Okay.
Today we use it really just for legal term.
Okay, I see. So now the next vocabulary word here is fake and is an adjective. It just means that not what somebody claims it is. Appearing to be something it is not. So we're talking about the fake brother, right?
So not real, right?
Exactly. So for example, the fake doctor was arrested after it was discovered that he never went to medical school. So he was not a real doctor, right?
Right. Okay, continuing. Surprisingly, Algernon also admitted that he was no stranger to deception, so he also deceives and lies. He had made up a dying man called Bunbury, whom he visited when he wanted to avoid his responsibilities.
Okay, so there's also a purpose to this, right?
Yeah, so basically there's something he has to do, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I need to go and visit this sick, dying person.
Okay, so they're all making up lies because maybe they want to get out of something or they have something that they want to do, right?
Right.
Oh, okay. Interesting story, but how about let's take a quick break and we'll come back and find out what happens.
Okay.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。这一次要读的文学作品是《The Importance of Being Earnest》。不可儿戏。那我们先补充一下 ，earnest 这个形容词啊，可以形容是认真的、真诚的。那它的副词在后面加上 ly earnestly， 就可以表达认真地、真诚地。那么在这出剧里面呢，有一个人名是 Ernest。恩尼斯特，那就跟 earnest 这个形容词发音相同，它具有讽刺的意味哦。那我们就来看看课文吧。一开始啊 ，Ernest Worthing 他走进好友 Algernon Moncrief， 她漂亮的伦敦公寓里面，希望向她的表妹 Gwendolyn 求婚。所以我们有3个人物咯 Ernest Worthing， 还有这个 Algernon Moncrief， 还有他的表妹 Gwendolyn。好，那我们现在在提起这个愿望之后呢 ，Ernest 他就突然被问到关于他那个烟盒的事情，因为他烟盒上面写的是给 Uncle Jack 杰克叔叔的字样，而不是写说给 Ernest。于是呢，他就被迫要全盘托出真相。其实啊，这位人啊，他的真名叫做 Jack。他在乡下是一位备受敬重的绅士，但在城里面呢，却经常使用 Ernest 这个假冒的身份，假装他这个桀骜不驯的弟弟，伪装成有一个这样的弟弟。那么后来呢，他的这个被监护人 Cecily 对这位假的弟弟越来越感兴趣哦。我们来看2个单字 ，desire 当名词，它表示渴望、愿望或者是欲望。那么 fake 在这边当形容词是形容假的、伪造的。好，那在现在这位好友他听完之后呢，他也没有很惊讶，他就自己也承认自己对欺骗并不陌生。他其实啊也有捏造一位人物叫做 Bunbury， 那这个人呢是个垂死之人，快要死掉的人。所以当这个 Algernon 他想要逃避责任的时候呢，就会假装要去探望这个 Bunbury。好，这边2个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们来看第一个重点是 in hopes 或者是 in hope。或者 in the hope， 它们之后呢可以接 of 加名词或动名词，你也可以在它们后面接 that 子句去表达期待、希望能怎么样，抱持怀着什么样的希望。那我们就来造2个例句。第一个例句是 He moved to the countryside in hopes of living a quiet life。他搬到乡下，希望能过着宁静的生活。那第2个例句是 They waited for a while in the hope that the rain would stop。他们等了一会儿，希望雨会停。好，第2个我们来看 make up 的不同意思。第一个呢，我们可以用 make up 做及物用来表达捏造啊、编造，像是编造某个故事、借口或是理由等等。举例来说 ，The story wasn't real, he made it up。那个故事不是真的，是他编造的。好，在第2个意思是指说组成、构成，我们常常用 A make up B， 或者是 B is made up of A 去表达 A 组成 B，A 构成 B。举例来说 ，The album is made up of 12 songs。这张专辑是由12首歌曲组成的。好，再看到第3个意思呢，你可以用 make up 去表达弥补或是补足，可能是补足怎样的数额这样子。好，假设你明天有事情必须早退啊，也许会询问主管说 I was wondering if I might be able to come in early to make up the time。我想知道能不能早点上班来补足那一段时间。好，接回到课文中。
When Gwendolyn and her mother, Lady Bracknell, arrived, Jack took his chance and proposed. Gwendolyn said yes, only because the name Ernest inspired absolute confidence. Her mother, however, wasn't so pleased and asked Ernest questions about his family finances and background. He told her that he was found as a baby at Victoria Station, so he never knew his real parents. Shocked, Lady Bracknell refused to allow the marriage.
Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back. Okay, so before the break, we've gotten into a pretty interesting story here. Maybe a little bit complicated.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got a character named Ernest.
That's right.
Who's actually Jack, who comes from the countryside. Now, he's going to the city to visit his friend Algernon. Now, Algernon has a cousin named Gwendolyn.
That's right.
And he wants to
propose.
Ernest, Jack, whomever, wants to propose to Gwendolyn.
That's right.
Right? Okay. And we have another character named Cecily, who is quite interested in Ernest.
You are right.
Right? Okay, so far so good?
Yeah, a little bit complicated, but you got it down. Very good. Very smart. Okay, so let's continue and find out what happens in the story. When Gwendolyn and her mother, Lady Bracknell, arrived, Jack took his chance and proposed.
Will you marry me?
That's right. That's what you say when you propose to somebody. Gwendolyn said yes, only because the name Ernest inspired absolute confidence.
Well, yeah, this name earnest, right, is basically just means to be serious or sincere.
That's right.
So you would feel like, okay, that's a pretty good quality, right? The name sounds good, and it will inspire confidence. Now, if something inspires something, it's to make somebody have a particular feeling or emotion. So you hear that name earnest and it makes you feel confidence, and you feel like, okay, it sounds like a pretty secure person to be with.
Yes, but that's just a name though, right? That's kind of silly.
Right, so our example sentence, the early election results inspired hope that the political party could win.
And we also have this word confidence, and that is a noun. So inspire confidence. So confidence basically is the feeling that you can trust and be sure about the abilities or good qualities of somebody or something. And feeling good about yourself, thinking, okay, well, I can do it. You know, I have confidence. Right. If I have confidence, I'm speaking in front of other people, then I would sound very, very, loud and strong, and people can understand that, I believe in myself.
Right, you don't look afraid or, anything like that, right?
Exactly. So in our example sentence, it says, the mayor has done little to earn the people's confidence. Oh.
In other words, they don't trust him.
Exactly.
Right.
They don't believe in him.
Okay, continuing. Her mother, however, wasn't so pleased and asked Ernest questions about his family finances and background.
Oh.
So the mother's like, well, it's just a name. You can't just marry this guy because his name sounds good. So she wants to do a little bit of digging and find out some background information and about his finances.
So what does that mean?
All right, so finance, especially when you use it with an S, this means the money available to a person, or it could be like an organization or a country, or the way the money is managed. So for example, you could say several government programs were canceled because of a lack of finances.
That means they don't have enough money?
Right.
Okay. So the mother wants to find out the finances and some background, of this person. So let's see what happens next.
Okay.
He told her that he was found as a baby at Victoria Station. So he never knew his real parents.
Okay, so he's basically found at a train station.
That's right.
Kind of abandoned there, right? So he's an orphan. He doesn't even know his real parents.
That's right. So shocked. So Lady Bracknell was very, very shocked, right? So it says shocked. Lady Bracknell refused to allow the marriage. So when someone refuses something, that means they say no to it. They're not for it, right? They say, this is not a good idea. I'm not going to allow the marriage. I'm not going to allow my daughter to marry you.
Yeah, now let me ask you, if your parents refused or didn't allow you to marry somebody, would you not marry that person?
No, I would still marry that person if I really love that person.
Yeah, I think in North America, where we're from, I don't think parents are really going to care too much about the finances of the person or what their family does for a living or, those kind of details. They're really going to care more about how does he treat you.
That's right.
And but in this case, she doesn't even know the guy at all.
Exactly.
Right?
Only knows that his name is Ernest. It's like, that's a good name, so I can say yes. So that is kind of silly, though.
It's so ridiculous.
That's right. Well, it is kind of an interesting story, wouldn't you say?
So far, but I really need to see where the story goes. So luckily, we will be able to get into it in the next
Part 2.
Yeah, the next time, okay?
Okay, we'll see you guys next time.
好，那现在我们知道 Ernest 这号人物，他的本名其实是 Jack。那他想要向好友的表妹 Gwendolyn 来求婚。Gwendolyn 和他的母亲抵达的时候呢 ，Jack 就把握机会来求婚。不过呢，他当然还是使用 Ernest 这个名字嘛。那么 Gwendolyn 就答应了，而且就只是因为 Ernest 这个名字啊，激起了绝对的信任。可能他一听到这个名字就觉得他好真诚哦。好，不过 Gwendolyn 的母亲就没这么高兴啦。她询问了 Ernest 的家庭财务啊，还有背景，才知道 Ernest 是个孤儿。当他还是婴儿的时候啊，被人在维多利亚车站发现，所以他从来不认识自己的亲生父母。好，那么 Gwendolyn 的母亲听到非常震惊，然后拒绝答应这门婚事。好，来看单字 inspire， 它当动词表示激起、唤起。 像是可能激起、唤起某个情绪啊、行动等等。那这个单字它还有鼓舞或是启发的意思。再看到 confidence， 它表示信任、信赖、信心或是自信。还有 finance。这个名词它表示财务状况或者是财力，当这个意思来解释时，固定用复数形。那这个单字其实也可以当不可数名词去表达金融、财政学。好，那么以上这些讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
Ernest Worthing entered the beautiful London apartment of his good friend Algernon Moncrief. He had come to the city in hopes of proposing to Gwendolen, Algernon's cousin. After mentioning this desire to Algernon, Ernest was suddenly questioned about his cigarette case, which had an inscription made out to an Uncle Jack. Ernest was forced to come clean. His real name was Jack. Although he was a well-respected gentleman in the countryside, Jack had created an unruly brother called Ernest, whose identity he often assumed while in the city. He also told Algernon about his ward Cecily and her growing interest in this fake brother. Surprisingly, Algernon also admitted that he was no stranger to deception. He had made up a dying man called Banbury, whom he visited whenever he wanted to avoid his responsibilities. When Gwendolen and her mother, Lady Bracknell, arrived, Jack took his chance and proposed. Gwendolen said yes, only because the name Ernest inspired absolute confidence. Her mother, however, wasn't so pleased and asked Ernest questions about his family finances and background. He told her that he was found as a baby at Victoria Station, so he never knew his real parents. Shocked, Lady Bracknell refused to allow the marriage.
Lukang's first market, located on Minzu Road, is the capital of street food in Lukang. Many famous old shops that sell traditional street food are located here. Shops start opening from 6 or 7 a.m. for those seeking to have breakfast, and other shops are open to satisfy people who are in search of midnight snacks. Regardless of when you visit, you can find something to eat at Lukang's first market. Saitse's Crystal Dumplings is a shop that has been in business for over a century. Saitse's Crystal Dumplings is known for its soup, which comes with opaque crystal dumplings, dumplings shaped like wontons, meatballs with water chestnuts, and steamed meatballs with pork filling, all of which are delicious and satisfying. The popular Yangzhou taro ball baoan is located at the front of the market. The taro balls, made of a mix of taro strips and pork, are particularly well received. Across from Yangzhou taro ball baoan is Longshan thick soup with squid and pork, which uses the best Argentine squid and ham to create a thick soup with a mouth-watering aroma. Thin noodles are also a popular choice at Lukang's first market. Lao Chuan's pig blood curd with thin noodles mixes pig blood curd together with thin noodles in a refreshing way. Longshan thin noodles is always packed with people. It sells bowls of thin red noodles with pork, dried shrimp, deep-fried shallots, eggs, and pork stock, a delicious combination of ingredients that will leave you wanting more. Wang Wang's thin noodles, which is towards the back of the market, is famous for its smooth, thin noodles topped with juicy chunks of meat. This dish may seem rather simple, but there is nothing simple about how it is made. Thick soup with 5 ingredients is an iconic dish of shrimp, squid, meat floss, mushrooms, and bamboo shoots, which are seasoned separately, then stir-fried and thickened with tapioca powder. The cooling and smooth traditional shaved ice, sold at Fa's Funguo Ice, is the best treat on a hot summer day.